Today we are eating at the most expensive restaurant in Hollywood Studios, the Hollywood Brown Derby. Known for their famous Cobb salad and grapefruit cake, I'm taking you along with me to try the classics and also try some new dishes on the menu. Is the high price tag worth it? Let's go find out. Well, it's no secret that Hollywood Studios doesn't have the best food. And if I'm not grabbing a snack at Baseline Tap House, chances are you can find me outside at the Brown Derby Lounge enjoying a Cobb salad. But today, we're heading inside, something I don't do very often, to give this restaurant a full, proper review. Now, this restaurant in Hollywood Studios is an authentic replica of the famous Brown Derby in California back in the golden age of Hollywood. In my opinion, this is one of the few remaining elements of this park that actually feel like it fits the theme of Hollywood Studios, and I definitely appreciate that. So let's head inside and grab some lunch. Well, we have made it inside. We're sitting amongst the caricatures here, and I just noticed, I looked over. Tell me this doesn't look like Walt Disney. I'm not sure who it actually is, but it kind of looks like dining next to Walt. That's pretty cool. And I did mention, I haven't dined inside at the Brown Derby in quite some time. I actually think the last time I dined in here was during Jollywood Nights, like 2 years ago, the first event of Jollywood Nights. I dined inside and I did not have the best experience. But that was just a special event, the first night of the first ever Jollywood Nights. So that's kind of to be expected. And I always have really good experiences outside at the lounge, which we talked about a little bit earlier. So if you didn't want to dine inside at the restaurant, the Brown Derby Lounge is a great option for you. I actually kind of prefer eating at the lounge. You could order the same whole menu, same drinks, same food outside at the lounge. It's super cozy out there, a bunch of tables in the shade, and honestly, on like a nice day in Orlando, it's like super cozy sitting outside there. I love going and just grabbing a quick drink, a light bite, usually a margarita flight, and a Cobb salad. That's usually my go-to out there. And the lounge actually doesn't take reservations, which is kind of nice, so you could always kind of get in at the lounge. They actually have a walk-up waitlist, so to join, you go on the My Disney Experience app, search the Hollywood Brown Derby Lounge, and you'll be able to join the walk-up waitlist right for there. They'll give you a text when your table is ready, and you'll return and be able to eat outside. The same menu that you can in here. And that's not to say that finding a reservation to dine indoors is difficult. I can pretty much always find a reservation for in here. But let's get on to the menu, and there's of course an extensive drink list, an extensive beverage list. There's actually a ton of specialty cocktails. I don't think I've had too many of these here because I always end up with the margarita flight. Like I said, you could get a margarita flight or a martini flight, and I always feel like it's a pretty good deal for some pretty solid margaritas. They also have the grapefruit cake martini. That's a very, very unique dish that we might get into a little bit later. But I am here right now for the non-alcoholic cocktails. They have a couple of them, but I'm specifically looking at you. The Shirley Temple. The original Brown Derby is actually known for creating the first ever Shirley Temple because kids used to go into the restaurant with their parents and want to drink something fun too. And they didn't really have any non-alcoholic fun specialty drinks for them. So they created the first ever Shirley Temple. And of course they continued the fun and the tradition here at the Brown Derby in Hollywood Studios. And I love that they kind of have this on the menu here as well. And they give you a little fun glow cube with it. You guys know me. Usually I'm not much of a Sprite person. I'm always ordering a DC out here, but for the sake of the Brown Derby, you have to order a Shirley Temple and you come here. And it's good. I can't even tell you the last time I had a Shirley Temple. Probably the last time I dined here. Also, I want to point out that I did ask, sometimes at Disney restaurants, your drink will be a little bit cheaper if you get it without the glow cube. Here, it's the same price, glow cube or not, so we just went the fun route. But let's get into a little more of the menu here. We're going to start by looking at the appetizers. Now, they do have a charcuterie board that I hear is pretty good. They also have a shrimp cocktail, crab Louis prosciutto croquettes. That sounds kind of interesting with pickled onions. Yum. Escargot, a honey pear burrata, and a creamy fennel potato soup. Now, I do love some potato soup, but I think it's a little too warm out today for some warm soup. So I think I'm going to take something off the entree menu and make it my appetizer. Now, another thing that the Brown Derby is very famous for is the Cobb salad. So we are just making that Cobb salad here our appetizer. Now, if you did want to get it as an entree, of course you could do that as well. You could also decide to add some chicken into your salad or some shrimp into there for an additional cost. I personally never feel the need to add extra meat onto the salad because it does already come with turkey, so that's always good enough for me. But yeah, just put in the Cobb salad for our app. And while we're waiting for that, we were just brought our bread, and guys, the bread here at the Brown Derby is some of the best. Where is it? Oh my gosh. These rolls are so good. They're also served with this incredible salted butter. I don't know what they're doing to their bread and butter here at the Brown Derby, but it is always so good. Grab our roll here. They're always very nice and warm, crusty on the outside and soft on the inside. Grab some of that salted butter. It has some pink Himalayan sea salt on it. I know people hate me for doing this, but this is just how I like to eat my bread and butter. It worked for me, guys. It's almost like a cross between a sourdough and like a French roll. That kind of what it gives. Like I said, it's always so warm. Look at the butter kind of just melting into that roll there. Delicious. I have to save the rest of my roll here because I like to eat the rolls with the salad. Usually that's like good enough for me, you know, for like a lunch when I dine out at the lounge. Some people used to say that they don't give you the rolls outside. I always just ask. They don't like voluntarily give them to you, but if you ask, I've always been able to get the rolls. And getting some rolls, dining outside on a Cobb salad and these bad boys is always perfect. Well, this here is the famous Cobb salad. It has spit roasted turkey, bacon, egg, tomato, blue cheese, avocado, and classic dressing for $28. $28 is definitely quite an expensive salad, guys, and you're probably noticing I do not have any blue cheese in my salad. It's because I'm not the biggest fan of blue cheese. I like it like sprinkled on things lightly, but I don't love it in a salad necessarily. So I always substitute out the blue cheese for Parmesan cheese. It's the only other cheese they could do. I wish they had some shredded cheddar to put on there, but the Parmesan works just fine. That's my little hack for you if you don't like blue cheese. Now, something that I never realized is that when you actually dine inside, they toss your salad for you. A little table side toss. I don't know, it was a really nice touch that I guess I maybe have never ordered the salad inside before, so I just didn't know. But we are all perfectly mixed up here. Every bite should have a little bit of everything, and that's always the best part of this salad. Everything is so perfectly combined. You get that smoky bacon in like every single bite, a little bit of turkey in every bite. There's some avocado in here that's adding some nice creaminess. The dressing, always super light and refreshing. However, I feel like the last time I came, which was honestly like last week and this time, there's just maybe not enough dressing on this salad here. So I am gonna ask for a bit more and kind of pour it on top to get a little bit more flavor from the salad dressing in here, but chopped to perfection. Everything here is chopped super finely and super thin. So I guess the salad might not be like for everyone, because I guess some people like wouldn't like that, but I personally really enjoy that. I like that they chop it for you and that everything is so finely chopped. Perfect. Just gonna add a little bit more flavor. I might like a little more dressing in my salad than the average person, but that's just my preference. So just know that you can ask for more dressing. That is definitely much better. The only thing this salad is missing is a little crunch. The bacon itself is crunchy, but I would love it if this had some chopped walnuts or maybe some like finely chopped croutons, something of that nature. But this is probably how the original Cobb salad at the original Brown Derby was served. So they're just making a copycat of it here. And guys, don't think the salad isn't going to fill you up. It totally will, especially with the bread. Like I said, I like doing a little scoopski of the salad on the bread. That's the perfect bite right there, especially with all that extra salad dressing. The dressing is like a little vinegary, a little citrusy almost, but like I said, very, very light in flavor. Pairs perfectly with all the ingredients of this finely chopped Cobb salad. Well, as we're still working on our salad there, we're going to start looking at the entrees, and there are a bunch of options. Like I said, I really don't think I've had very many of the entrees because I usually just go for the Cobb and that's it, but there is a halibut, a filet, which I hear is pretty good, root beer brined pork, a plant-based shepherd's pie. That's going to be the plant-based option on the menu. This chorizo stuffed free-range chicken, of course, our Cobb, some salmon, and a lamb shank as well. Then if we move down, there are of course some enhancements. shrimp mac and cheese, crispy haricot verts, and sweet potato souffle. In terms of enhancements, I have tried the shrimp mac and cheese before, and I don't remember being like the biggest fan of this mac and cheese here. If I'm remembering correctly, it was just a little bit too dry for me, but entree wise, I'm kind of trying to decide here what to get. A lot of the stuff sounds good, and like I said, I really haven't tried very much of it. Now, in terms of entrees, there used to be a burger on this menu that I hear so many great things about, and then I hear people are in an uproar over them taking it off the menu. And I don't know why they would do that to such a popular burger, and I personally never got the chance to try it out, so I'm kind of sad. So one of these days, I really hope they bring the burger back here at the Brown Derby. But until then, we're left with these entrees, which they do change up pretty often, or they at least switch out like the sides and stuff, keep things seasonal, you know, so I don't know what I'm gonna get. But the first of our entrees has arrived at the table. We were talking about the shrimp mac and cheese. I decided to actually go with one of the other enhancements this time around. These are the crispy haricot verts. They have fresh truffle and the citrus aioli for $10, and these look really good, guys. They look fried perfectly, very, very crisp. I cannot wait to dive into these. Well, they smell amazing. They look amazing. Let's see how they taste. Wow, guys. I actually really, really love these fried green beans. These are probably the best fried green beans that I have ever had. Now, I think the only ones I've probably ever had are from like fast food chains where you get them and they're like clearly frozen and just overly breaded and not the best. They still are kind of good, but not like this. Look at how like light that batter is, or the breadcrumbs that they're using are. I like that it's not like fully encased. Like you could still see a little bit of the green bean through the breading, but it's just like the perfect light breading. Like it's not too much, you know what I mean? The green beans inside aren't mushy, and then you've got all that panko in there. These are amazing, and I hope these kind of stay on the menu, because honestly, I would add these to my regular dining rotation when I come to the lounge. Some green beans, a Cobb, and a margarita. I was just talking and I was thinking, like, you know, these would be really good as an appetizer as well. Like, I guess you could order them as an appetizer if you wanted, and I would definitely recommend you do so. Like I said, perfectly crisp. The green bean is not overly cooked on the inside. Man. I could just have a field day with these and just like demolish this entire plate. It is a smaller portion, but really fresh, perfect breading to bean ratio fried green beans. Seriously, come get these. If they're on the menu when you come to the Brown Derby, try these out. Well, to go with our green beans, we did have to get a main course, and I decided to go the chicken route. This here is the chorizo stuffed free-range chicken. It has seared gnocchi, piquillo pepper, confit onion, and a crisp apple hard cider demi for $40. And I know we're onto this chicken, but guys, I can't stop eating these green beans. So good. I'm cut off though, and guys, from the moment that this chicken was placed on my table, I could smell the chorizo flavor. It is very potent, very strong, but it looks pretty good. It also looks very, very small for a $40 piece of chicken, but we're gonna try it anyway. Let's cut ourselves off a little piece of this chicken here. You can see the chorizo is kind of just stuffed inside of this airline chicken breast. So we've got ourselves a bite with plenty of chorizo and plenty of chicken as well. Hopefully this is good. This is certainly very interesting. It's different than really any dish I've ever had before. I've never even thought to stuff chorizo in chicken, and I think it's a pretty good combo. The chorizo that they're using is super smoky, and this dish is just jam-packed with flavor. There is so much flavor. The chicken breast itself is very juicy, maybe from like the fat from the chorizo kind of stuffed in there, but man, this packs some serious flavor, this dish here.
Yes, sir.
Also a little bit of crispy chicken skin with the dish here. Wow. That's really good. Really flavorful, just like the rest of the dish. I'm definitely getting a little bit of that apple cider as well. It's just adding a little bit of like a briny vinegar-ness to the kind of the backside of the dish here. And yeah, this works. And I kind of see why they're making this maybe a little bit smaller, because with the chorizo, it's definitely like a hearty kind of filling dish here. But I don't know if it's something I would get like all the time. I imagine this might be a little bit too much if it's like really, really hot outside. It's warm, but it's not super hot, so it's good for today. But if it's too warm, this might be like too heavy to kind of eat right now. I wanted to get to the gnocchi here, and they are pillowy soft, sitting on top of that pepper sauce, I believe. They look good. I think they've tossed the gnocchi in some like butter and herbs before placing them on top of the sauce, and that adds like the light flavor that you need, because the sauce on the bottom has a very strong kind of pepper flavor. They're good. I wish there were a bit more, because this is a $40 dish. There are only about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gnocchi here. I could use definitely a couple more, because they are so good. I want to just keep eating them, you know? But overall, I'm actually liking this dish a little bit more than I thought I was. I knew it was kind of taking a risk with it. It's something that I usually wouldn't order. I think I said in my last video that I ordered chicken at Skipper Canteen. It's like I never order chicken at a restaurant, but I decided to just go for it here because the chorizo stuffing really intrigued me, and I'm glad I did. I would get it again. I'd still stick with the Cobb salad. I still think that's the best. That's the thing to get. But if you're looking for something different, come try this out. As stuffed as I am, I have to show you guys dessert. It's not a full review without some dessert. And here at the Brown Derby, they have a very famous dessert. Of course, I am talking about the Brown Derby original grapefruit cake. They also have a decadent chocolate cake, a creme brulee, an orange hazelnut chocolate cake that is plant-based, and some poached pears and panna cotta if you're not into the grapefruit. To go with the desserts, there are also some after-dinner drinks, including a grapefruit cake martini. For the sake of the video, I want to show you guys, the most popular things, so we are going to be getting both of them. But I must admit, before we get the cake, I am not the biggest fan of it. And I think that's just because I don't love like too tart and sour of things. And I find this cake to be very tart and very sour. I guess I'm just not the biggest fan of like grapefruit overall. I don't dislike it, but I also don't love it. So it's not my favorite dessert. If you love grapefruit, there is a 100% chance you will love this cake. It's just not for me, but I still wanted to show you guys. Well, like I mentioned, we are just going with the grapefruit theme for dessert. So we've got the grapefruit cake martini and the grapefruit cake itself. Let's start by getting a sip of this grapefruit cake martini first. This drink celebrates the taste of the grapefruit cake created at the original Hollywood Brown Derby in the 1940s. It has deep, eddy, ruby red grapefruit vodka, Stoli vanilla vodka, and a splash of cream with a graham cracker rim for $16.50. I think I'm going to need this drink here if I'm going to get through the cake. I love the rim. I love the color. Very, very pretty. Oh, and she's tart today. She's very tart today. Very tart, very bitter, but I do still enjoy it. And while this drink here isn't my favorite, I do think it is more enjoyable than the cake. And that's, I just took another sip. That's the trick. You gotta get some of that graham cracker kind of in with each sip. It helps with the tartness, in my opinion. And if you did want to try out this drink, I know I mentioned like the margarita flight and all that stuff. You can get any of the drinks to go. They do have a walk-up bar outside next to the lounge, and you can walk up and get this grapefruit cake martini. It's an easy way to enjoy the classic dessert in liquid form without having to sit down at either the lounge or here. You can just grab yourself a grapefruit cake martini to walk around the park with, and it's definitely a fun drink with a good story, so I enjoy it. But now, the moment that you are all waiting for, I am going to try the Brown Derby Original Grapefruit Cake. This has vanilla sponge cake with a grapefruit syrup and cream cheese icing for $14. You can see we've got all our layers there. In between each layer, there is some cream cheese frosting and then that grapefruit syrup that's going to give us all that delicious grapefruit flavor. We'll cut ourselves off a little bite here. All right, let's go for it. I really want to love this cake. And it is not as bad as I remember it being. I just feel like the grapefruit syrup in there makes the cake like super mushy because the layers of cake are very thin layers of cake, and there's a lot of grapefruit syrup in there, so it kind of just seeps into the cake and makes it a bit soggy. The cream cheese frosting, I think, helps with the bitterness and the tartness of the grapefruit, but it's very soft, almost like too soft for me. Like, I feel like, yeah, grapefruit cake, it's just not for me. I just wanted to get it to show you guys the most famous dessert at the Brown Derby, one of the most famous desserts at this park, but I prefer it in liquid form. Well, we are out of here. I've got my little grapefruit cake martini to go. The Hollywood Brown Derby is like hands down the best restaurant in this park. Like it's actually not even close. I mean, Sci-Fi, you guys know how I feel about Mama Melrose's, which is what we're gonna discuss in a little bit. Prime Time, Hollywood and Vine. Yeah, they're all fun places, but the food is just, it's not on a level that it should be. The Brown Derby here is good. It's not my favorite restaurant at Disney World. I don't think they're doing anything too crazy there, but what they are doing, they're doing it right, and it's good, especially for Hollywood Studios food. But still, I mean, the way to go is totally sitting at the lounge, and I'm looking at it right now. It is so beautiful out right now. Kind of wish I sat outside, but hey, it's fun to experience new things, and it's really fun in there. You got all the caricatures on the wall, and actually, as I was walking out, I noticed they have a big photo of the actual Brown Derby that was in Hollywood. I actually don't know if it's still there, if it still exists. That would be really fun next time I go over to LA to see if it's still there and check it out if it is. I feel like it's not, because if it was, I probably would have heard about it before, but there was a really cool photo of what the actual Brown Derby looked like, and yeah, they did a really great job of replicating this building. Definitely go check out the Brown Derby. If you're looking for a sit-down restaurant here in the park, that is definitely the best, or even better, go check out the lounge. It's my favorite. But thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thank you to all of my Patreon subscribers for supporting the channel. I appreciate all of you, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Bye.